don't know. I'd say I'm reasonable.
Okay, that's completely unreasonable.
I'm reasonable.
I'm unreasonable.
You have no idea just how reasonable I have been.
Reasonable synonyms are sensible, rational, practical, fair, appropriate.
Fitting, suitable, logical.
All things I would definitely say describe me.
Do they describe you?
Welcome to I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson.
I'm reasonable.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson. I am Zainab Johnson. How you guys on a scale from Kanye to Kendrick? How reasonable have we been this week? Yes. We are talking about the Grammys. I mean, a little bit, which I will be honest. I did not know they happened. I did not know until right after they happened that they happened. And like many people, I ran to my computer, to my phone, to my laptop, to my television to catch up. We will also be talking about Trumpy Dummy, and all his tariffs. Are we going to talk about it? I don't know. There was the threat of tariffs, and then there was the retaliatory threats of more tariffs, and now we don't have temporary tariffs, but China still got tariffs. I don't even want to say tariff no more. But I do have a message for my Palestinian people living in Gaza. Do not leave. I'll get into it a little bit more. Do not leave. I know I say that from a very privileged place, but don't leave. If you can stay in Gaza. You know, when you hear people say it with the proper accent, with the proper pronunciation of the language, Gaza. Stay. We'll talk a little bit about it. But this is really going to be a music episode. And in the Ask Z today, we're going to get into Luther Vandross's documentary. Yeah. Okay. But before that, first of all, thank you so much for everybody that tuned in to the live. It is the I'm Reasonable Weekend Live. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I be capitalizing the W and the E because it's we. We're in it together. The Weekend Live, we talked about the plane crash. We had a lot of live. We had a lot of people on the lives. Some negatives, a lot of positives, some trolls, some haters. We don't care about them. Boost us up in the algorithm. Hey. You want to fuel my vehicle with hate? Go ahead. I'm still going where I'm going. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Weekend Live. That happens on Sundays. Do I know the exact time? No, it depends on my schedule. But it happens. If you have not watched it, go ahead, be a part of the rewatch gang. Also, y'all know the important stuff. If you want to see me live, if you want to come see me perform live this weekend, actually, I will be in Pittsburgh. I'm not often in Pittsburgh, but this weekend, that's where I'm going to be. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, February 6th. 7th and 8th, Thursday, 1 show, Friday, 2 shows, Saturday, 2 shows, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the Pittsburgh Improv. Then I'll be in Chicago, February 21st through the 23rd. I will be in Chicago, Illinois at Zanies. Then March 8th, I will be in Tempe, Arizona. One night only, Tempe, Arizona, March 8th. I'm looking at these. Oh, okay. Because I'm like, that's going to be Ramadan. And I really don't like to travel that much during Ramadan. So April 4th, one night only, New York City. You can come see me for an hour. I'm not sure if I'm going to make the New York City show like crowd work, new material show. That does not mean that it's going to be like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I mean like brand new, never seen before material. Or maybe I'll split it up. I don't know. But April 4th, I will be in New York City. One show, one night. I think the tickets are almost gone. So if you want to be there, I will go ahead and get those tickets. April 11th and 12th, I will be in Toronto, Canada, April 11th and 12th. And I believe those tickets are almost gone as well. So April 13th, I will be in Portland, Maine for one night only, one show, Portland, Maine, May 2nd through the 4th, Arlington, Texas. June 6th through the 8th. Oh, this is a new date. June 6th through the 8th, I will be in Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri, June 6th through the 8th. June 13th and 14th, this is also a new date. June 13th and 14th, I will be back in the Bay. Back in the Bay Area. June 13th and 14th, I will be at Cobb's Comedy Club in San Francisco, California, IA. Then June 19th through the 21st, I will be in Baltimore, Maryland. That's June 19th through the 21st, Baltimore, Maryland. So if you're in that DC metro, I know Baltimore is not the DMV. I know. You don't even have to bring that energy over to me. What I'm saying is it is in close proximity enough that if you missed me in, let's say, Virginia Beach, if you missed me in Washington, D.C., then you have a close enough show in Baltimore, June 19th through the 21st. And then way in the future, December 5th through the 7th, I will be in Addison, Texas. But of course, I'm going to be adding more dates, more cities in between now and then. So just stay tuned and hopefully your city will be added. Okay, while I have you guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you have not subscribed. So when you subscribe to my channel, number one, it helps me. Number two, it helps you. It helps you not miss anything. So if you're like, dang, I missed a live again. Well, are you subscribed? Because if you're subscribed and it's a legitimate email, you'll get the notification. Because even I'll be getting a notification for my live. It'd be like, I'm reasonable, just went live. And I'd be like, wait, what? Zainab Johnson, I'm Zainab Johnson. Why am I getting this notification? So if you subscribe, you'll get the notification. Also, you'll be privy to the stand-up that I post first. You'll be privy to my tour dates. And it'll show me that you really love and support what I'm doing. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, like and share. That goes the same way. That follows the same sort of reasoning. Hit that like and that share button. Okay, so what's up with Z? I hate when this happens. When I go ahead and I start thinking, okay, what do I want to talk about on I'm Reasonable this week? And I completely go past what's up with Z. What's up with me? This is actually nice because this is what I'm wrapping my mind around. I am actually hosting the ABFF, which ABFF stands for American Black Film Festival. It's the biggest actually Black film festival, I believe, in the world. They normally have it in the summer in Miami, and a lot of big Black films are premiered at that festival. In the same that some films are like premiered, for the first time at like Sundance or Tribeca or South by Southwest, et cetera, et cetera. Well, they've been doing for the past like 8 or 9 years, they've been doing ABFF Honors, which happens in Los Angeles, kind of around like award season, around like the Academy Awards. And yeah, they normally have a comedian host it, and this year, I am the host. This year, they asked me to host, and I am the host. And only one other woman in the 8 or 9 years that it has been going on has hosted, and that's Regina Hall, the very, very funny and beautiful Regina Hall hosted it. I think it's first year, maybe. And since then, no women. Until now, it'll be me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've been working on my monologue. I feel like I've written like some good jokes. I feel like I'm going to bring a lot of fun to the night. I'm actually waiting for somebody to drop off some clothing options today to see if those work. And yeah, I don't think there's anything to ask about reason in the What's Up with Z, but that's kind of all I can think about right now. Yeah, that's what's up with Z. I will, after I do it, I'll let you guys, of course, I'll probably maybe do a whole episode just talking about that'll like, once it's done, which is, it's like less than 2 weeks away. It's maybe like, what's today, 14? So it's 13 days away. Yes, 13 days away. And so whatever week that is, maybe the What's Up with Z will be very long because I'll talk about like that entire night. And the honorees that night are what's the guy? I better remember their names before the night, right? Aaron Pierre. I got to think of like, that's Mufasa. I got to think about that to remember the name, but I'll know it on the night. Aaron Pierre, Keke Palmer, who I absolutely adore. Keke Palmer, very early, like when I was first doing stand-up, I'll never forget, I was doing a show in a really small room. If you've ever been to a comedy club named Flappers in Los Angeles, it's actually in Burbank. Keke Palmer was in the audience, but the room is so small, like it holds maximum 50 people, maybe even less than that. And Keke Palmer was sitting it holds 50 people, but there wasn't 50 people. It might've been like 25 people in the room. And Keke Palmer was sitting right in the front and she was laughing. She was laughing so hard that I had to actually tell her, okay, you got to stop. You got to stop. I can't, I'm not going to be able to do the jokes if you just keep laughing so hard. You got to stop. And this is when Keke Palmer she had her own talk show on, I think, BET. And I think after she saw me on that show, she invited me to do like a segment or something like that on her talk show. And she was like, yes, you know how Keke is. And she was like, so I saw you perform live. I said, yes, and you were loud, because y'all know how I am. I was like, yeah, and you was talking a lot. She said, oh, okay, now. I love Keke Palmer as a talent. She is one of the honorees. Marla Gibbs, who has paved the way for a lot of us. Marla Gibbs is probably best known from the sitcom The Jeffersons and also 227. And who else is being honored? Giancarlo Esposito, who I know from Doing the Right Thing. That's the first time I ever saw him. If you ever saw I think Do the Right Thing was the first movie I ever saw in my life. Especially in the movie theater, I think Do the Right Thing was the first movie I ever saw. And I was like a little kid, but definitely I think it was the first movie I ever saw. Anyway, I do remember Giancarlo was the character. He played Bug-Eyed, and he said, did you just step on my Air Jordans? It was like something like that. But like, I think most people know Giancarlo Esposito from he was the chick, the bad guy, you know, in Breaking Bad. He was the rival who owned all the chicken shops, but really he was like the big drug pen. And last but definitely not least, Ingenue Ellis. You see even just, it's going to be such a good night. And I'm not practicing any of my jokes with you guys because I'm going to just wait until, I'm going to just keep going over it and running it by like my little sister, although she be laughing at everything. Not everything. When she laughs, she really laughs heartily, but when she don't laugh, she be like, yeah, no, you could throw that one away. I be like, no, I need two no's before I throw a joke away. Like I need two completely independent no's before I throw a joke away. Anyway, okay. Let's get in Z-Main topics. Let's talk about red carpet looks at the Grammys. The Smith family was in attendance, minus Jada. They all look great, but Jaden had on a castle hat. I didn't get it. I did not get it at all. But, and this is no shade because like I love the Pinkett Smith kids. Like I just love, I think I talked about them like in one of the early I'm Reasonable episodes. They cannot do any wrong for me except this castle on his head. But I really like, they're like royalty, Hollywood royalty children. They're cute kids, you know, like I don't got no problem with the Pinkett Smith kids. But I think maybe he put the castle on his head just to get attention. Like how else was, like Willow looked very beautiful, but she had on a long coat and basically just underwear underneath. So it's like, that's going to get attention, right? And Will Smith was, you know, definitely looking like he was leading a marching band, but that's fine. That's totally fine. He still looked nice. He just looked like, do they call them majorettes or are those the women at the marching band? Whatever. I just was at Battle of the Bands this past weekend. And he definitely looked like, he could have, he looked like he could have been in Drumline too, 20 years later. But ain't nobody talking about him, but they talking about Jaden. They talk about two people on that red carpet. We're going to get into it. One of those people is Jaden Smith because he had the castle on his head. And I'm like, this has to just be for attention. It has to just be for attention, which, is what. But then I'm like, because I try. The whole point of this, you guys, is like, no, let's be reasonable. And in order to be reasonable, we have to sort of sometimes dig deeper, right? So that's exactly what I did. I'm like, let me go see if he's talking about it, if people are talking about it, if they're giving us a reasonable explanation for why this young man has a black castle on his head. I saw the designer / collaborators, they released a statement that said, and I quote, the whole process of creating a headpiece was a fantastic experience from the sketching to testing and realization. Now that's crazy to me because if you look at this picture, it don't even sit on his head right. It's not even framing his face right. So whatever. I'm still quoting, the artistic headpiece combines the mysterious elegance of Abodi or Abodi, Transylvania, with a bold modern design inspired by Transylvanian history and the vampire legends of the Bathory. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Bathori. Bathory. Is Jaden a vampire? And I didn't know. I mean, why not wear Martin Luther King headpiece or some sort of, it's Black History Month. Why not let that be the statement? I did not know that Transylvania needed representation. Because here's the thing, Jaden Smith is a black boy. And it is Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. I should have said that at the top of the show. Happy Black History Month. So if you're going to wear something that is eye-catching and is going to be talked about, why not represent who you are? Unless you be out here sucking blood, not having a reflection in the mirror that we don't know about. And here's the thing. I'm not trying to be Transylvanian phobic. This might sound so unreasonable, but I thought Transylvania was just a figment of Tim Burton's imagination. Kanye West is the other person that they talking about, him and his lady friend. Are they married? The woman that be with him. The woman that be naked with him, that be looking like she is captive, they did not go into the Grammys, but they walked the red carpet, and she had on a big fur coat. And I was about to say faux fur, but it's like Kanye ain't got nobody wearing no faux fur. Whatever. A fur coat, and he was in his traditional all black, like he running an errand. And he whispered something. She stopped. He whispered something in her ear, and then she, revealed her clothing underneath the coat, and it was no clothing. It was just like a very sheer dress or something like that showed, And then I saw that he posted on his stories, and this is like because it made like the blogs. I don't follow Kanye West, but because he posted on his stories like, oh, this was the most Googled woman in the world, and so we beat the Grammys. And so I guess he had very clear intentions, and it worked. I'm not even really going to get into, because this might sound callous, Let me finish my thought. I'm not even going to get into the controversy of, is this girl a prisoner? Is this girl a victim? Is this woman a victim? I don't even care. And that might be very unreasonable. Oh, you know what? Because everybody looked nice. Everybody looked beautiful. Everybody looked nice. I was actually like surprised that there weren't like a lot of changes throughout the night. You know how the Grammys, like people look like they wear one thing on the carpet. They wear one thing when they seated in their seat. They wear another thing when they presenting on stage. It'd be like a lot of outfit changes. But I felt like it was a pretty like reasonable night in terms of like the way people showed up. It's like everybody looked nice. Everybody looked super, 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 super nice. Alicia Keys was the only other one that I was like, she looked nice, but it was just like, she also looked like she was supposed to go to like the Met Gala because her outfit looked very themed. You know, it looked like Byzantine Empire chic. All right, let's get into the winners of it all, right? Okay, so our girl Beyonce, she won for Album of the Year. And she also won for Best Country Song. And we don't even have to get into the argument of it all, because when it comes to like granting a winner, right? When in any scenario, in any award show, at any game, at any competition, if there is to be a winner, there has to be a loser or losers. And people who love the loser, they're always going to, join the chat with, oh, the person I love should have won. Here are the reasons why. Here's the reason why the person who won is not deserving of it. That's always going to happen. So we don't even have to get bogged down in that. Also, there's racism. I'm speaking to the conversation that is disputing Beyonce's win of the Album of the Year, because it is not because she's not fantastic, not because she hasn't put out dynamic bodies of work, not because Cowboy Carter isn't a good album, but because it's a country album. Because it's a country album and she's quote unquote not a country artist, should she receive any accolades for a quote unquote country album? I think I've said it before. I love Cowboy Carter is one of my favorite Beyonce albums. It's one of my most listened to Beyonce albums. And while I am a Beyonce fan, like truly a Beyonce, not stan, but Beyonce fan, like, Beyonce is not God to me. She's a very talented entertainer. And seemed like she don't really bother nobody. I know sometimes she be taking publishing and all of that type of stuff. But she seemed like a pretty, and she might be like a little bit like robotic and closed up, but whatever. She's been in like the spotlight since she was a kid, right? But she is a supremely talented and obviously one of the hardest working people in the business, right? But, so I'm not a stan, but I'm a fan. But I will admit that while Beyonce albums will be in heavy rotation when they first come out for me, once I get past them, they don't live very much in my rotation once they're, but there are a few exceptions. Like I can listen to her Coachella live performance every single day, all day. And maybe it's because it's like just it's a combination of her, it's her body of work. And it's like that band, like that like drum line behind her, it just sounds so good to me. I could listen to that over and over. It never gets old to me. Cowboy Carter came out 2 years ago, I believe. Or or maybe it came out last year. It came out last year because I was listening to it heavy when I was in Australia. I can listen to, I'm never disappointed when that album comes on or any song comes on from that album. I just think it's like a really, really beautiful album. I even, when I was driving up to San Francisco a month ago, I was trying to get my friend to listen to it, and I was like talking through every song, like after every song, I wanted to have a conversation about it, and she was not on board, and I just had to accept it. She was like, no, I get like, I just not, because people don't really, people be scared to say to Beyonce fans that they not a Beyonce fan. But I'm not that type of person. You can fully not like Beyonce and I won't be like, I mean, if your reasoning is stupid, then I'll call out your reasoning being stupid. But if she just ain't your cup of tea, then it just is what it is. But my friend didn't want, I was clearly very passionate about the album and my friend was not. And I was like, you don't get it? Like, she was like, it's just, I don't really like country music like that. And I was like, okay. Anywho, so the chatter in trying to disqualify her wins is just because it's a country album. Like if it were a soul, R&B, pop album, whatever, it was like, yeah, because that's what she do, But and here's the thing, I don't care nothing about that. I love the album. I think that it's great that she won. A lot of people were talking about like, Jay-Z's speech last year at the Grammys.
It's music and it's opinion based, but some things, I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work.
And still, that does not disqualify her winning. But I just want to point out, like, even if she was a country artist, in the legitimized in their eyes, right? Even if there wasn't a thing called like racism and sexism and all of those things, even if there wasn't just outright hate, there's going to be outright hate because there has to be somebody that loses. I was thinking like, I think that's why I kind of like honors instead of awards, like where you just honor people instead of putting a bunch of people in a category and then putting them against each other and saying that there's a winner, right? Although there's like metrics and all of that, right? But I mean, I guess because Doechii won, but Doechii's album didn't sell that much as I enjoyed Alligator Bites Don't Hit, whatever. Okay. But then the reality is, even when you start to honor people, there will still be somebody saying, oh, this person shouldn't have been honored. This person should have been honored. So like, let's try not to even waste our time with those conversations, right? Next up, Kendrick Lamar. He had a bunch of nominations. He took home, I think he had like 11 nominations. He took home 5 Grammys, including the Record of the Year for Not Like Us. And he had on his Canadian tuxedo, which I love. Denim on denim on denim. I really do actually. Like if you look at, like if you just see me every day, like I most often have on denim on denim. I don't care if it's a casual look. I don't care if it's a dressed up look. I don't care if it's, fast fashion or high fashion. I don't care if you got on sneakers or a stiletto. I don't care what country you in. I love a Canadian tuxedo. I don't care I don't care if it's light denim, dark denim. I even like when people mix the denims. I just think it's chic. He had that on and I loved it. Doechii, as I said, Doechii won for Rap Album of the Year for her album Alligator Bites Never Heal. And she also performed, and everybody, like if you look online, it's like Doechii's performance was the performance of the night. And it was really creative, unsurprisingly, because if you've seen any TikToks, if you've seen any footage of Doechii's performances since she has been around, but especially the past like year, it's like she puts on a show, She ended up naked by the end of the performance, as they all do. And this ain't even a female thing. Men too. If you're supposed to be like a sexy man singing, You're going to start off with clothes, and then by the end of the song, we're going to see your chest. Same thing with women. You know what I'm saying? Although hers ain't really like the ultra super sexy, like it's still very like artistic and very like, she kind of be looking like a little kid in underwear. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, I wonder if we'll ever see a performance. Maybe this has happened. Let me know in the comments if this has happened. If we've ever seen a performance where they start naked. They start with like very few clothes on. And then by the end of the performance, they are fully dressed. Have we ever seen that? It was a good performance though. And I'm not like nitpicking or anything. It's just like, I actually really, and I think that's her signature. Let me finish my sentences. Dang, Zainab. I actually really enjoyed the aesthetic of her performance. And it's her like signature. It's her signature to just be up there in like some tidy whities. An artist named Chappelle Roan won. And this is the artist to be like looking like a clown. And I don't say that like to insult her. I don't say that like as a judgment. She literally be looking like a Bridgerton clown. So she won. And I don't know what she won for though. She won, and the thing that's like beyond her win and beyond her red carpet look, because I think people have gotten used to her looking the way she looks, like the get up that she chooses to express herself in. But these two women, young women, were doing interviews on a red carpet, and they had started an interview with Kenny Babyface Edmonds. Why did I say his name like that? Babyface. And this artist, Chappelle Roan, she was walking by and they got really excited and just dropped their interview with Babyface and went to talk to Chappelle.
It's interesting.
Chapel.
You guys want to do that? Go do that.
So sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Hello, how's it going, Chapel? Hello.
And a lot of people felt like this was like unreasonable, and it was. But it wasn't unreasonable for the reasons that everyone is saying. Everyone is saying like, oh, how did they don't put some respect on Babyface's name? If they don't know how long he been in the business, if they don't put it's like, let's be for real, you guys. Let's be for real. Yo, if we're going to talk about Luther later, but as much as Luther is beloved, in like 2004, if I was somewhere talking, Luther Vandross was in front of me, and then Chris Brown walked by, I would be like, oh my God, Chris Brown, oh my God, oh my God. Not that it's not right or wrong. It's just about who is relevant to you. Also, on a red carpet, we know that in order for your interview to be seen, right? If you get the biggest or the best interview, like that's just a part of this business. I think that it's unreasonable, not because of who Babyface is, but just because he's a human being. And like part of like hosting, part of taking on any sort of journalistic role is like understanding how to do something, and maybe not even being a journalist, maybe not even, but when you are in a professional setting, there is a way to do things professionally. And so I feel like it was just unreasonable because they didn't do it professionally. The professional thing to do is the people in your ear, your producers are letting you know that a big artist, that they want you to get that interview, especially while Babyface is an undeniable music icon. This artist is going to be the winner tonight. So it would be good if this media outlet had an interview with the artist that is going to win a Grammy tonight. But instead of screaming past Babyface somebody else's name, You should say, Babyface, thank you so much. Thank you so much for talking to us. Have a wonderful night. And then you just move on. Let him wrap up his sentence. Chappelle wasn't running down the red carpet. They be ushering them down kind of fast, but she wasn't running down the red carpet. You was going to get your interview. Thank you so much, Mr. Babyface, because they young. Mr. Babyface. Thank you so much, Mr. Edmonds. They ain't know who he was. And we cannot fault them for that. Don't y'all, there was this Alicia Keys song I loved. Absolutely loved. I ain't even got to talk about Alicia Keys. The first when I sang Sweet Thing so many times. You think I knew when I was singing Sweet Thing, Mary J. Blige, that was Shaka Khan's song? Do you think I knew that? Was it Shaka Khan or Aretha Franklin? Either way, do you think I knew? Look at me now. Cause I grew up on Mary J. Blige, Alicia Keys, Beyonce. And I know it's a lot of y'all that got old souls and grew up in the house with you know what I'm saying? I did not. I didn't grow up in a house where my parents was like, and you better know Anita Baker. I didn't grow up in that house. Babyface could be them girls' grandfather. Young grandfather, respectfully. But grandfather. So it's only unreasonable to me because it's like about treating a human being like they're a human being, like with respect. And it's very easy to be respectful if what's leading you is professionalism. Like even if respect ain't on the forefront of your mind, if you choose professionalism, then most times you'll be respectful. At least a little bit. Sabrina Carpenter, who I only know as an actor, but apparently she's a singer as well. And like a big singer. She won Best Pop Vocal. Shakira. Oh, baby, when you talk like that. Yeah. Oh, baby, when you talk like. Can they remove my video if I do that? Oh, baby, when you talk like that, you make a woman go mad. Shakira. She won the Best Latin Pop album. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars won for something. That's where I stopped. Last thing I'll say about the Grammys. So when Beyonce, because like I'm saying, I ran to my TV and I ran to my phone and I ran to my computer, but I looked up very specific things. I did not look up the whole show. And that's why I'm not going to fault them young ladies about moving past Babyface. Because you see, it's a lot of people I'm not mentioning that to some other people are really noteworthy mentions. Come on. We know when somebody is culturally relevant to us and not just maybe not culturally relevant to somebody else, but also completely out of their age range. Come on, you guys. That's the reason why when people try to argue against Michael Jackson, that's the reason why can't nobody argue against Michael Jackson. Because for some reason, if you go to any corner of the earth, they know Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson been dead for, 16 years now? 15 years? 16 years? You go to any corner, you go, I'm sure if they got people on Mars right now, they know who Michael Jackson is. I'm sure the aliens know who Michael Jackson is. If you 100 years old or if you 3 days old, for some reason, you know who Michael Jackson is. I don't know what that is about, but. So when Beyonce, this is the last thing I'm going to say about the Grammys. When Mrs. Knowles Carter, when Mrs. Knowles Carter won her Grammy for Album of the Year, everybody was crying. Did y'all notice that? Cynthia Erivo is crying. Billie Eilish is crying. Taylor Swift over there hugging Jay-Z and Blue. Everybody, and I thought I had missed something. Now, here's the thing. I'm fully aware that Beyonce has the most nominations, the most actual Grammys, and never won Album of the Year, right? We just referenced that, right? We just referenced Jay-Z's speech. That is a known thing. We know for years, anytime she's nominated, most times she gets robbed. We've even had artists who have won and have said, come on, you guys, you know you were supposed to give it to Beyonce. Adele did that one year, right? So I'm fully aware of this. Is that why people was crying? Because like everybody was crying except Beyonce. Beyonce wasn't crying. Julius wasn't crying. Blue Ivy wasn't crying. I'm like, but everybody else is crying and I'm saying, what is happening? What is going on? But then I was like, you know, because sometimes I try to be too reasonable. I'm like, you know what, Zainab? Maybe it's you. Maybe you don't understand that these artists have such immense levels of empathy. And that's the reason why they are artists. And that's the reason why they are, you know, at the top of their game and you know, and at the Grammys being nominated and being celebrated. Maybe, you know, but it's like, I'm so happy for her. And clearly she was like surprised because she never wins that category. And then they've been like throwing her so much shade in this country world of it all. She seemed genuinely surprised. So it would have seemed like if tears were going to come from anybody, they would have came from Beyonce herself. But no, everybody around her. And people that don't even know her like that, like, celebrities be like knowing each other, but then they don't be knowing each other. Whatever. I also, and I don't want to put any fuel on the fire of the people who have never approved of the Beyonce Jay-Z relationship, right? But I do find it quite interesting that, interesting's not the word. I find it peculiar that when she stood up and she won, and that's a big category, and he said something, that they didn't kiss. And I'm not talking about no sexy, passionate kiss. And they have been together for a really long time. They have 3 children. Like, you know, maybe they're past that point in their relationship. Or maybe they just don't do like, you know, public, you know, like intimacy. Maybe like PDA is not a part of their like relationship, you know, I don't know. But I didn't even want to kiss on the lips. But I just felt like a kiss on the cheek. Like they just hugged. And I'm not saying there's trouble in paradise. I don't even want there to be trouble in paradise. That I don't got no dog in that fight. I don't even want to ignite a conspiracy theory. But I did think that it was really peculiar that, because Beyonce just seems like she is a very touchy-feely person. She just seemed like she that type. She seemed like if she loved you and she's sitting on the couch with you, like you could be all up under her or over. She just seemed like that. I could totally be wrong because I don't know Beyonce. But that's what she seemed like to me. Even when she went up and accepted the awards, she gave the firefighter, she gave the kiss on the cheek. They got a better hug than, there was a better exchange between them than her and Jay-Z. I just thought it was peculiar. What y'all thought? Let me know in the comments. Okay. That's it for the Grammys. Real quick. So the reason why I said if you are Palestinian living in Gaza, stay is because I was watching the news and in Dumpy Trumpy's quest to be considered a good president, a memorable president in a positive way, to be remembered for something good, he really is trying to get a deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel. So I believe if not today, it's tomorrow that he's meeting with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. And his goal is to get a deal, like a permanent ceasefire, but also a deal for a two-state solution, right? And I don't even know if that's really what he wants, but in order for Saudi Arabia to agree to any deal with Israel, they want the Palestinian people to be a separate, they do not want a, they want the Palestinian people to be able to govern, have their own government, their own land, their own, and apparently it's a non-starter for the Saudi Arabian government. Like this is a deal that's not going to happen if you try to, if you take a, like this is the part of, this is a what am I trying to say? Not deal breaker. Non-negotiable. So then he was talking like, okay, they're talking about like rebuilding Gaza, right? Like all of the destruction that has happened because of, I mean, we could just say it. Fucking Israel's destruction of the Gaza Strip, right? Whether you feel like they justified or not, I don't. But so he's talking about the rebuild of that. And so then he was suggesting that Egypt, Saudi Arabia, other neighboring nations take in Palestinian people so they leave, allow a rebuild, and then this is what was said, and I quote, and then we'll figure it out. No, do not leave. Do not leave. Do not leave. Because just don't leave. I don't know, but I don't trust it. Oh, then you can come back to your house and you can come back to no, it's almost like you have to chain yourself to a tree so that they don't start cutting down the trees in the far. No. And I know, as I said at the beginning of this podcast, I know I say that from a very privileged place, but don't leave. If you live it, don't. Okay. Because the math ain't mathing. And once you gone and then trying to get back and trying to claim your land, your house, your place, I just don't trust it. I don't trust it. All right. So the Ask Z. I was sent this Ask Z and it is regarding the Luther Vandross documentary. There is a new documentary out. It was produced by CNN. And it is called, let me get the title. It's a song title. So why am I not? Never Too Much. It's like, come on, Zainab, but see? Because I'm happy I watched the documentary. I actually watched it today so that I could adequately respond to this Ask Z. The documentary is called Luther, Never Too Much. You know, never too much, never too much, never too much. It's a 2024 documentary film about the life and career of R&B singer Luther Vandross. It premiered at the 2024 Sundance Film Festival, and it was received well by critics. Now, the documentary is really wonderful. Actually, it really does a nice job in walking you through the rise of Luther Vandross's career, his accomplishments, how beloved he was, the things that he struggled with, mostly his weight. Really, that's it, his weight. And then it talks about, very briefly, which I believe this is something that is known for the people who kind of came up, you know, during Luther Vandross's like height. Just FYI, Luther Vandross died. He was born in 1951. I believe he died in 2005 of, I believe, diabetic complications. Or he had a stroke due to diabetic complications. It definitely had to do with his weight. But so at some point towards the end of the documentary, they start to get into his sexuality, how he identifies. Was he gay, straight? A lot of people in the documentary who loved him claimed that they like the tragedy of Luther Vandross was he sang so beautifully and so deeply and so successfully about love. He made people want to find love, have love, make love, give love, etc. But he never found that love himself. And so then that led to conversations about his sexuality, how he identified. And there were some clips that he was like, I'm not even going to do, that's nobody's business. In you know, the shortest way I could put it, he was like, it's none of your business. A lot of people spoke about him not wanting the, if he was gay, him not wanting the stigma of homosexuality, of being gay at that time. This is not, you know, he like I said, he was born in 1950s. He died in 2005. He is the height of his career. This ain't 2024 where you could just walk around looking like a clown or have a castle on your head. One part of the documentary towards the end, where I think a guy who he won the Grammy with for Dance with My Father, he says, you know, that he didn't like how some people in Luther's life who claimed to, and these are his words, who claimed to love him, were talking about his sexuality on public platforms. And then the documentary cuts to Patti LaBelle on an episode of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. And he asks her about Luther Vandross' sexuality or not coming out, and I feel like Patti LaBelle, I don't feel like there's anything to blame. I know that she didn't approve of her likeness being on the documentary. I know that they asked her to sign something and she wouldn't. She said that she didn't like how she was portrayed. And I imagine like in their circle, there's chatter about that. But I saw her response to the documentary before seeing the documentary, and I thought it was going to be way worse. That's actually the only clip, and obviously she has no say in whether or not they use the Watch What Happened Live clip, right? I mean, I guess she could have reached out to Andy Cohen or those producers of those shows and whatever. But I didn't really think that it was egregious. I didn't think that it was unreasonable. I just felt like she knew him, and it didn't feel like she was like, here's the tea. Oh yeah, honey. Well, and you know how Patti could talk. Oh yeah, honey, because because I felt like she spoke about it cautiously, right? So then, and this is the Ask Z, because y'all are like, well, we get to the Ask Z, right? So this is the Ask Z. So Marsha Warfield did a response video. Here it is.
So, hi. I watched the Luther documentary the other day, and I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was well done, and it was emotional, and I really appreciated that they showed him the kind of love and respect that he deserves. But of course, there are a lot of people who now seem to be angry at Patti LaBelle for putting his business in the streets. According to the internet, it seems that it wasn't her place to talk about his private life. Let me say this about that. I don't think I've ever really heard straight people say, I don't think we need to talk about my private life. I don't think that's any of your business. Now, there's no need to go look up receipts and show me straight people saying that. I've never heard it. I'm sure people say it. That's not the issue. The issue is that closeted people say that. And nobody stays imprisoned in a closet because they're afraid of people like Patti LaBelle, who did not say anything about Luther Vandross's sexuality while he was alive. So she maintained his friendship and apparently acquiesced to his wishes. What I saw is somebody who came out in my 60s and understands a lot of what might make a person stay imprisoned.
So the Ask Z is, and I'll just read this. It says, my Ask Z is based around Miss Warfield's thoughts that once you've passed, your secrets can be shared with the world. My thinking was that if he wanted to take the secret to the grave, he should have been allowed to do that. What are your thoughts? The thing about death is you don't have no control over what happens when you die. I think that, okay, so I'm gonna answer two questions, right? Do I believe that people who know you and love you should honor your wishes even when you pass? Like, I would be very surprised if I was in the closet and I didn't want to come out the closet, and for whatever reason, if I feel like that's going to help me sell more records, if that's going to keep me, if I don't want the stigma of it, if I'm just not, if maybe my familial ties are very much, with the church, and I just don't want to be outcast from my community, my family, et cetera, for whatever reason, if I am choosing to keep that part of me hidden, which is so sad. But if for some reason I'm deciding to do that and the people who are closest to me know that, then yes, I do feel like they should honor my wishes and not tell nobody. But I'm a New Yorker. So like, it's hard to get information out of me anyway. There's somebody else's information. It's hard to get my own information out of me. It's hard to get somebody else's information out of me. Sometimes I'll go back and tell a friend like, yeah, I was like, I don't know, because I ain't know what you wanted me to say. And they'd be like, oh, I don't even care. You could have said, and I'd be like, oh, I ain't even know. I ain't really know how I ain't know what you wanted. So I was just like, go ask her yourself. She got them, So I do feel like people who know your wishes and love you and respect you should honor those wishes. I also, to be very honest with you, watching that documentary, it was so beautiful and so kind of heartbreaking because Luther Vandross is like, and I'm not, I know Dance with My Father, which is a beautiful song. And I know that Luther did the, before he hit that high note, right? Like he gonna go real, real low, down to the depths. I mean, the abyss of where sound can go to take you up to the, to the heavens and, like I get that was he just was skilled. He wrote songs, he produced songs, They showing you all on a documentary. David Bowie was like, which I don't care nothing about that. I know that mean a lot, but it's like, whatever. I'll always be having to get past like the white validation of it all. You know what I'm saying? So if David Bowie was like his same accolades and was a black man, I would have been like, and David Bowie, but because he white, I just was like, okay. I mean, he better know. Like, yeah, duh. Luther Vandross came in the studio killing it. Duh. What they said in the 90s, a day. But watching that documentary, it was like this man, regardless of his sexuality, although, in my opinion, this is the shady part of me. It's like Luther Vandross had on eyeliner, blush on his cheekbones. He said something that made me laugh so hard. He said He said he used to open up for David Bowie. He used to have to go out and do a 35-minute set for David Bowie, and nobody knew him. And David Bowie said, I want you to do all your original music. Do not sing covers. I only want you to sing original music. He was like, and them people was sitting there waiting for David Bowie to come out. And so he just had to get out there and sing a whole bunch of songs that they didn't know. And all they doing is waiting to see David Bowie. And he said he went in the back and said, listen, David, if you're trying to kill me, just do it with an axe. If nothing else, he had a healthy amount of flamboyance. But who cares? Because if you watch that documentary and walk away with anything except how exceptionally talented he was and his legacy of music, if you walk away thinking anything outside of that, then you are unreasonable. I don't give a shit what his who he loved, what his preference was, what his identity was. I don't care. All I know is that when he composed music, when he wrote songs, when he sang them, he touched people in a way that most of us never will. Now, Marsha Warfield, who is very, very funny, underrated, super respected, but still underrated comedian and a late coming out person. She talks about it. She talks about it in her comedy. She talks about it in her stand-up, that she came out late. It's her opinion that when you die, you know, the secret ain't the secret. The reason why I don't care about that is because here's the thing. Whether it's right or not, it don't matter because you are gone. It's like the more and more I talk about this and the more and more I talk about what happens when people pass, I'm telling you, I know I said it. I either said it on the Weekend Live or I said it during another podcast episode. The more I agree with Mike Tyson, as much as when he said it to that little girl, when he was like, look, fuck legacy ain't shit. As much as it seemed wild and off-putting and inappropriate, the more and more we have these conversations, I'm like, yeah, what do it matter when you're gone? What does it matter if Patti LaBelle maybe says something that maybe she shouldn't have said, which again, I still think wasn't that, if you just out here now that he dead, like, well, you know Luther was gay. If you out here doing that, then like, I don't know what the purpose of that is, but she didn't just volunteer the information. Andy asked her a question. And you know he messy boots 101. He asked her a question. And she politely was like, well, yeah, being his friend, relayed a conversation that she probably had with him. I'm not quite ready to, you know, deliver that news to my parents. That's essentially what Patti LaBelle was saying. That whether his mother knew in her heart or not, he wasn't ready to confirm that. I don't really see a problem with that. I do think that if somebody makes their wishes very clear and you just go beyond that in a very like messy way or trying to get whatever, I think that person is lacking integrity. I think that shows that person lacks, you know, some character, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. If Luther Vandross was gay, it matters way less now than it mattered when he was alive. So if people are saying it's not, I don't know. And your secrets are probably, the truth is, your secret's probably going to come out when you die. If it's people that's just trying to talk, they probably was talking when you was alive. You just ain't know they was talking, you know? But I think that like focusing on like protecting a person's legacy, I think that it would have to be something so big to tarnish it, you know? I think that with this specifically, yeah, Luther Vandross made it very clear. They even showed some clips of him on that documentary. He made it very clear. I'm not going to answer you. I'm not going to dignify y'all with an answer of yes and or no. Now, usually that means yes. Usually that means it's the answer that don't nobody want to say. But, you know, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't know if I could even answer if it's wrong or right, because it's so not a big deal, especially because people are talking about, they're pointing to Patti, like there's no other example that they're using. So with Patti LaBelle specifically, that clip from Watch What Happens Live, I think that ain't even a misdemeanor. That's like, all right, I'm going to let you go with a warning. You know? And Patti might have regretted it the moment she said it. There's so many times you sitting in interviews and they get in question. You trying to do a good interview and you just after the fact, in which they ask you usually, like, is there anything, sometimes they'll be like, is there anything that you want to take out? But like Luther Vandross told the media back in the 80s and 90s, I don't ask me about my sexuality. So if we're going to be mad at Patti, then we got to be mad at Andy Cohen as well. Why are you asking? You know, he already said it. He already said none of your business. That's why you still asking. So why you asking? To answer your question, should if somebody wants to take the secret to the grave, should that be allowed? Sure. But, yo, when you in a grave, it just don't matter. What's that saying? You can't take it with you when you're gone, right? It don't matter. So why would we even be wasting energy debating if it matters? It doesn't matter. He did not want to have to deal with it. And guess what? He did not want to have to deal with it when he was alive, whatever it was. And I completely understand that, because it was already difficult to deal with his weight and his struggles with his weight. That's already, you know how harsh the world is to overweight people? And this, again, I'm reiterating, this is not in 2024. He was born in 1951. He died in 2005. This ain't body positivity time. This ain't, you could be a sex symbol. People want to make you the face of no, people, unless you're doing comedy, unless you Uncle Bucking it, people ain't looking for you to be fat. Unless you Uncle Buck or Mammy selling some damn syrup or something, they ain't looking for you to be fat. This is not today where it's like we got every size you can imagine. I remember, now I'm going to get out of here. My grandmother one time took me to a one-size-fits-all store. It was a $10 store. Everything in the store was $10, and it was one-size-fits-all. And the stuff fit me. I'm a skinny little kid. It was a woman's store, though. I was like 12 years old or something. It was a woman's store. Yeah, everything fit me. But I knew for damn sure that one size didn't fit. These jeans that fit my little 12-year-old size 02 body. Who this going? Grandma, put this on. Let me see if it fits you. It probably fit my grandma too, because she's skinny. But this is not no damn one size. I don't even know how they got away with that in the 90s. I don't even know how they got away with that. This has been another episode of I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, stay reasonable. Bye.